Let's talk to Stephen Rabb this morning. Stephen, I've been telling you about him all morning long. He is the author of the bestseller, The Founder's Speech to a Nation in Crisis. And our conversation this morning is brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Stephen is in the Atlanta area and joins us this morning. What's it like in Atlanta today?
It's a little overcast in Atlanta, but so the sun sounds pretty good. But yeah, it's a little cloudy. But when it is sunny, it's a little hot. So you pick your poison.
Is that true? What they say about Atlanta being hot, Atlanta?
Well, the humidity can get pretty tough in the summertime. But all in all, it's a beautiful place to live because we get a little bit of all the seasons, but not too much of any of them.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Stephen, we wanted to talk to you seriously about this topic, about America. And This is the day after Independence Day, a day when we celebrate America. Certainly the news out of Chicago yesterday was quite distressing.
Right.
Our country is not proud of our country right now, is it?
That's right. We're spoiled children who thinks that the world is just this way and it's always been this way and this is the way it should always be, and yet we've forgotten just from whence we came as not only as Americans but humanity. War was the nature of things, and life was short and brutal, and so the fact that we have this nation that gives all this freedom, all this liberty to be who you want to be in this great country, and yet we find lots of reasons to complain. For those of us who are patriotic and love America, our complaints are about defending and keeping this great country. So when the poll shows some dissatisfaction, and I think the dissatisfaction is on the part of a lot of the Republicans is we're dissatisfied, but with those who want to change this to some other utopian plan and who want to harm this country and who won't celebrate D-Day and who won't stand up for the national anthem. We're upset, but we're upset that you don't get it. You don't get how blessed we are as a people and how great this country actually is, and that you should be joining us in preserving the good and then working with us in resolving. And that's what our whole history has been. We look at the good and the bad, we see them both. Let's fix the bad together and let's celebrate the good together. And now we have a hard time doing either of those things.
With the pandemic, of course, a lot of our freedoms were taken away. And necessarily at first, and then they went on and on and on, and people started complaining about that, and probably there was a lot of justification in it. Does it surprise you then that this poll shows 56% of Americans are not proud of our nation?
Well, and I think some of that is the proud of our country part is we used to have a military that was led by warriors, and now the military is led by wokesters. And we used to, we see Afghanistan fall apart. We're not proud of our role in that. We see, so I think some of that is concern for, the inflation is a wet blanket on our country. So we see bad choices being made that harm our country, and we're not proud of those choices. I think that is deeper. It goes deeper than that, though, that for most of us, yes, we're proud to be Americans. We're just afraid for our country and want to defend our nation. But others, when you go deeper, they're not even proud to be an American. Not only are they not necessarily happy right now with the status of the country, they're just in general not proud to be Americans because they've bought into the narrative of the left, of the universities and the media, that we are nothing but evil and corrupt, and so they find nothing good in us to celebrate. And I think that maybe that worries me even more than kind of the temporary, how do I feel today about the policies today or inflation today. Those are temporal and they will come and go and ebb and flow. But I do feel like for that the deeper problem is we're raising generations of kids who do not understand America, get the ethos, get who we are as a people, and aren't proud of that. And that is a much deeper concern than the temporal comings and goings. And so I I hope, and that's why I wrote the book. I mean, I wrote the book because I wanted people to understand, learn for the first time for many, who the founders are, what they said, what they believed in their own words. So the whole book is a speech from the founding fathers to America right now, and it's all crafted from what they said and curated into a speech to America in their words, not my words, but their words. And I think those are the words we need to be reminded of as a people.
It sounds as if our country has it. We just get the sense that our country is just a group of malcontents, and everybody has a problem with something else that's going on with another group of people. The founders of our nation would look at today, and they would say what to them?
Well, they would say, remember who we are, that without education, we won't know our rights and be able to defend them. Without liberty, we won't have property and property rights and be able to defend it. Without understanding who we are as a people and that faith from which we come, and that is at the root of our country, then we won't be the virtuous people, the moral people who will follow laws and live by the rule of law. So that they would point us back to the core foundations of this country, our faith, our liberty, our independence, and remind us of those things. And that's what they do in this speech, is they remind us of the core principles and tenets of who we are as Americans and why we have a Constitution and why that Constitution matters and protects us and defends our liberties when they're threatened from all sides, and as they are today.
When we think of the founders and what they would have to say to Americans today, we think of the obvious names. Were there some who weren't as obvious to you before you started working on this project that made you say, wow, that guy really got it?
Yeah, it's a great question. Roger Sherman is one of those who I did not know a lot about until I dug into this. And he was a pivotal player and founder. And he said, sad will be that day when the American people forget their traditions and their history and no longer remember that the country they love, the institutions they cherish, the freedom they hope to preserve were born from the throes of armed resistance to tyranny and nursed in the rugged arms of fearless men.
Wow. That is amazing.
And that, I mean, that's part of the book, and that's is one after another of those. When you see one of the things you get from it is just how much they saw the threat of tyranny, how they saw it even in their own time already emerging, and that their words of caution against tyranny and how we should handle it when we are seeing it bubble up around us, what we should do as a people to deal with that. And that's what we have to listen to, is what then should we do as a people when our liberties are threatened by those who seek, or by power seekers. And the founders talk a great deal about those who seek power and the dangers of that power. It's why they created the balance and the checks within the government itself, and it's why they call us to morality and to faith, so that we check and balance ourselves, and it's why they give us in the Constitution a remedy for amending the Constitution when we have to defend further and more deeply the rights that we cherish.
There are an amazing number of incidents of prescience in our founding documents, and it really does call to mind what Franklin said about if you can keep it. That was really, really something that foretold the future, wasn't it?
It was, and they saw the threats. They knew that this was a once in a time. They saw that this was a pivot of humanity. They saw that this was no other people had enjoyed the level of freedom that this Constitution was going to provide for us, but only if we got it, if we preserve it, if we defend it, if we maintain who we are as a people, as Americans, that American ethos and spirit. Adam said it wasn't the revolution on the field that won America. It was the revolution in the hearts of man that was America. And that's what we have to get, is that revolution in the hearts of man. Are we getting who we are as Americans? If we don't, then we won't be able to keep this country we love.
Stephen Rabb is our guest. He's the author of The Founder's Speech to a Nation in Crisis. What is the way up and out of this overall bad mood that our country is in?
Well, certainly at the ballot box is one way up and out, but that's a short term. The long term is education. And we have got to take back, and the important thing that's going to happen in November, we get focused on the national results, but the important elections are local, at school boards, at state, at county level, at parish level. That's where the action is. That's where we are going to take back our communities and our education system, and ultimately be able to create, like Arizona, I'm glad to say, did something beautiful here recently in offering school choice and infusing competition and optionality into education, and give people the choice to let their kids go to a school that is focused on loving America and teaching the truth of America and not hating on America. So we have to take back public schools on one hand. On the other, we have to give people the option of raising their kids in private schools. You don't have to be a millionaire to send your kid to private school if we have school choice in every community in this country. So we would start with education, and there's a whole chapter in the book about what the Founding Fathers believed, the critical nature of educating our children in becoming patriots, becoming Americans. And that's where we have to start, is taking back our education system.
Stephen, where do we go to learn more about you, about your book, and about the fortunes of the Atlanta Braves who beat our Pirates back in 1991 and 92?
Well, we apologize for that. So the founderspeech.com is where you'll find more information about the book at thefounderspeech.com. But you also can find it with over 1,000 reviews on Amazon. So as well as all the other online booksellers. So wherever you buy your books, it is there, and it's getting some great response. People love it, but that's, when they love the book, that just means they love the words of the Founding Fathers in one place, in a concise, clear place where I can say, here is what they said and believed, and what the ethos of America actually is.
Stephen, thanks so much for spending some time with us today.
Thank you, and God bless you.
Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160 and AM 1160 and